I'm going to be talking about question number 1, and that is, in what ways did your media product develop, challenge and use conventions of real products? My trailer was designed to attract an audience with an interest in art house film industry, meaning I had to aim it at a niche market in particular. I began by reviewing my research into codes and conventions of a teaser trailer. I narrowed the conventions down to 5 points, these being that a trailer should be a short sequence of clips, or just one clip from the film, usually last a minute or about a minute and a half. The pace usually starts slow and picks up. It gives the audience a brief insight into what the film is about, but leaves them hungry for more, containing minimal footage from the film so that it just teases the audience, and it's released a long time before the film. Although these conventions are key, they're very broad, and I felt I had to narrow my conventions down to a specific genre. To suit my audience, I felt I needed to, firstly, have an interesting soundtrack or music in my trailer. Secondly, I had to portray my film as award-winning, but specifically a smaller indie film festival. This is why I chose Sundance. Lastly, I felt that cinematography was vital. If I were to attract a particular market, I must use interesting sets of clips and create subtle beauty in my trailer. As a whole, I feel as though my trailer actually fulfilled most of these conventions. It is, as I said, a short sequence of clips. It lasts no longer than 1.17 seconds. You're watching a 1/3 of the size right now. It gives the audience a brief insight into what happens, but leaves them questioning what happens next. It does not imply a fairy tale ending. And when it would have been released, it would have been released way before the film. The one element that it does not conform with is that the pace usually starts slow and picks up. I decided against this, as the event that begins at the story and the film is at the beginning. It would have been confusing if I had put this halfway through the trailer, as this is not where it is in the film. Although I felt that the first set of conventions were important, I particularly focused on the second set. As stated, the first was to have an interesting soundtrack, one that would appeal to my target audience. I picked 2 songs for my trailer, the first being Montana by Youth Lagoon. This built the atmosphere well before the death and cut out just as the audience discovers the fall. The second track was Wherever You Will Go by Charlene Soroya. This song is frankly depressing and created the perfect atmosphere, evoking responses from audiences saying that it fitted the mood perfectly, creating a mournful tone. Both tracks were near to unknown and would have appealed to my target audience. My second point was to attract through use of awards received from film festivals. I picked the Sundance Film Festival Award as this is prestigious and would attract the correct audience, who are more likely to watch films because of good reviews and awards, rather than just because it looks interesting. My final point was that cinematography had to play a key part in my trailer. I feel I did that successfully because I drew influences from other trailers such as The Exploding Girl and Another Earth, and I effectively created an interesting trailer. I looked into The Exploding Girl, and the first shot really caught my eye. I wanted to incorporate the ambiguous nature into my trailer. I thought this would be effective as it introduces the key character, but also sets the scene with the nature. Have a look and tell me what you think. Another Earth's narrative voice spurred me on to create something similar, as I liked the voiceover of the protagonist explaining her life in third person. I then did this with my character. Admittedly, my protagonist wasn't an award-winning actor, so it didn't display the same emotion as I hoped, but I was still pleased with the outcome.
Let me tell you a story. It's about a girl. She does something unforgivable. She goes to apologize, but she loses her nerve. She lies to him. She thinks she might be able to make his life a little bit better. It was really just a way to survive what I've done.
tell you a story. It's about a girl and a boy. Something terrible happens to the boy. The girl tries to live on without him but can't. She wanders through life trying to find meaning, acting as though she's okay, when she was really just trying to survive without him.
I researched some theorists to find out what the typical narrative structure is and came across Todorov. He suggests that conventional narratives are structured in 5 stages. A state of equilibrium at the outset, a disruption of equilibrium by some action, a recognition that there has been a disruption, an attempt to repair the disruption, and a reinstatement of the equilibrium. My film actually follows this narrative but does not reveal this in the trailer. It hardly shows the state of equilibrium at the outset and doesn't show an attempt to repair the disruption of a reinstatement or a reinstatement of the equilibrium. Claude Lévi-Strauss, sorry for the pronunciation, his approach to narrative stemmed from his study of myths and legends. He believes that we make sense of the world, people and events by seeing and using binary opposites. My narrative structure actually supports Strauss's theory, as the key oppositions in my film and trailer is life and death.
With your arm around his shoulder, a regimental soldier, your mama started